Hi everyone, I'm Abby and welcome back to Ace Attorney Investigations. Now last episode we kind of arrested Shinna because we found out she was close to you, which isn't even a real name, and yeah. She left us a little hint in that she wasn't actually the one who killed Manny Koshin. So yeah, this case is far from over. So now I know who the Artagarasu really was. And yet there remains much to this case that needs to be resolved. Like how the weapons crossed country lines, for example. The two countries have incredibly strict security systems and entry procedures. Short of a miracle, it's impossible for someone to have smuggled them in. Smuggling them in, huh? We'll need to open a new line of investigation on just this aspect alone. But before we do, I'd like to go through my evidence once more. Hey, there's a VCR here, sir. Now we can see what's on that tape detective bag gave us. It's a piece of evidence from the KG8 incident, hidden from sight for 10 long years. I just know this is related to the current case somehow. Detective Gumshoe, if you could please play the tape for us. Sure thing, sir. This man, it's Manny Koshin. And he's holding a knife in his hand. This looks like footage from a security camera at the entrance of an apartment building. An apartment building? How do you figure that? Unlike you, I actually read the summary file on the KG8 incident. And the crime scene was the victim's own apartment. So this footage was shot at the entrance to the victim's own apartment building. At the trial, Mr. Faraday claimed that this piece of footage existed. However, no one could find it. Yes, somehow, someone was able to steal it and hide it through Mr. Ernest Amano. See how this would have been a definitive piece and why someone would want to hide it. But it's a piece of evidence from a 10-year-old case. There's no way it's related to this case we're working on now, sir. Actually, we'll leave it as everything to do with the case we're working on now. Ringleader even went so far as to use Mr. Portsman to retrieve it, which means that in this video lies a very inconvenient bit of footage to the Ringleader. Where? Where? Wait, what was that? Huh? That bit you played just now. Please show it to me again. This car. This is something we cannot overlook. Why is that, sir? Look here, Detective Gumshoe.
Take that!
This is the national flag of the Principality of Codopia. And because it has the national flag on it, we know this to be an official government car. But the question we should be asking ourselves is, what was the government car doing there? Oh, Miss Von Karma and Mr. Edgeworth. So you were here all this time? Ambassador Elba. Thank you very much for continuing the investigation, even at this time of night. If only I was even a tiny bit more careful. This tragedy would never have happened. I'm truly sorry. This wasn't your fault, sir. It's nothing to do with how careful you were. You idiot, Crocus! You can't chase after a simple thief! Now then, let's get down to the real reason why I came looking for the two of you. I would like you to put the investigation on hold for a while. Can you do that? Excuse me? I heard you've apprehended the thief that turned this embassy upside down. And we are in the middle of an event celebrating a country's reconciliation. But exactly you have the police and detectives walking around here forever. You're scaring the visitors away. So I hope that you can understand how I feel. We must finish our investigation and resolve the remaining issues. Why don't we leave the rest of the Albashan and Babalese police? Ambassador, we are so close. Just a little more and... Miss Von Karma, I'm afraid I've made up my mind. And without my permission, you can't proceed with your investigation anyway, right? That's true, however. As he said at the very beginning, this area can be considered to be Albastian soil. In which case we are nothing but foreigners in their land. So is this really where our investigation ends? Shifu, we found Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Shifu, this way. Yo. Agent Lang, you're back on the scene rather quickly. If I laid back and took a break, I'd lose the scent of my prey, Mr. Prosecutor. Agent Lang, why have you returned? Because I have to solve this case no matter what. Well, I'm sorry to inform you. And don't take this the wrong way. I don't suspect you personally. However, a member of Interpol was just found to be a thief, and so... Grr. Under these circumstances, I wish to put your investigation on hold. After all, I believe our own police can handle these from here. They are quite capable. At this rate, our investigation really will come to a close. Ambassador Alba, I get it now. I really do. Oh, I'm very glad you understand how I feel. No, not that. What I was talking about is... I know who the killer is behind tonight's murder. You... No... The... Killer? Do you really mean that, Agent Lang? Heh, wolves don't lie. Then who is it? Well, let me first say that I'm not talking about Mr. Koshen's murder. That was all Sheena. Lang Z says, the truth lies not at the exit, but rather shines outside the maze itself. The truth is unexpectedly simple. So let me ask you this. Who do you think was Damask 2's killer? I'll tell you who. It was you, Francisco Von Karma. I was the killer? Hey, wait, but that's impossible. Yeah. Although, the whip is actually quite... Yow! Hold your tongue and let that ludicrous remark you were about to make. Agent Lang, are you seriously accusing her of murder? Yeah, I am. He doesn't appear to be joking. Hey sis, remember that just before Ambassador Albo to give a speech? He called you into his office, right? Yes, he did. What does that have to do with anything? I'm getting to that. Furthermore, in order to solve both cases, you moved around rather freely between Albast and Babel, did you not? Objection! And when is there evidence that I am the killer? I was just getting to that. Trust me, I'll show them to you in due time. Ambassador Alba, in order for me to bring this case to a close, I'll need to inspect your office one more time. Will you grant me permission? With things as they are, I suppose I don't have much of a choice, do I? Good. Now let's move out. Oh, and don't even think about running away, sis. My pack will be keeping a close eye on you. You can bet your bottom dollar on that. As if we would have any reason to flee. But just so we're clear, your large guy better be sound. Because I'll accept nothing short of a perfect explanation. She seems rather upset, not that I blame her. I expected that you'd accept no less. But we'll see how long you can keep that nose of yours stuck up in the air like that. Agent Lang, as someone related to tonight's case, I requested you allow me to take part. And so that I may clean up my superior's mess. Guess I should. The more the merrier, especially when it's the peanut gallery. Oh, in that case, I want to join in too. I still haven't seen what it looks like in Nalbast yet. If you're okay, then you gotta let me in too, pal. I can't sit around and do nothing when Miss Von Karma's in trouble. Hey, Gummy, let's have a competition to see who can save her first, okay? Okay, I'll take you up on that. Oh yeah, I'm fired up and raring to go. As a detective, I don't believe this is something you're supposed to be excited over. Sounds like this is going to get really interesting. Ambassador Alba, I'll be bringing these kids along for the ride. Very well. But I'd like you to keep in mind this will be your last chance. I'll have this whole mess cleaned up before you know it. Now let's go. Okay, now, let's first go over the facts one more time. Manny Koshin's body was found over in the Secretariat's office in Babel. The weapon that took his life was one of Alabast's ornamental lives. And then the body of Damask II, Mr. Kashinu, was found here in the Albastian ambassador's office. Through our investigation, we found that the murder weapon was this primitive statue, and that this is actually Babel's statue. This case, no matter how I look at it, sis, if it wasn't you, then there's no one else who could have pulled this off. Agent Lang, do you understand the full implications of what you are saying? Of course I do, sis, and I'm serious. We're on the trail of the smuggling ring, and you wanted any evidence you could find. And so, while people were distracted by the Atagarasu's appearance, you stuck in here. That's when you two ran into each other. You and that other thief took advantage of the confusion from the fire. Even if all that's were true, how do you explain the movement of the weapons? Don't worry, I'm pretty sure that you're the culprit behind that too. You have permission to investigate both embassies at will. With that kind of free reign, you could have easily taken the weapons across country lines. Hey now. Look sis, I thought I already told you I'm not messing around here. This case isn't directly tied to the smuggling ring, but Shina certainly is tied to the smuggling ring. He's right in saying that she is a member of the smuggling ring. However, the connection between this case and the ring, could it not be deeper than what any of us can imagine? Grrr! Let's discuss this ridiculous circus over with already. Franziska, you need to calm down, because you only know the facts of the Abashian side of the case. I don't believe you can see the case as a whole, and therefore, solve it. What? But don't worry, I am taking this seriously as well, and I'll prove your innocence. That's the only way to be, Mr. Prosecutor. Can you come up with anything else that can top my hypothesis? Of course, your explanation has to solve the mystery of the moving weapons as well. Of course, and I will. Let's now delve into the truth behind the murder of Damask II. You do understand, don't you, Miles Edgeworth? This isn't just a confrontation against Agent Lang. If you can't figure out how the murder of Damask II is related to the smuggling ring, then it would mean the end of our investigation. As long as I have no good counter argument to his hypothesis, the best I can do is walk this thin tightrope and see what I can do. Come on, Mr. Prosecutor, let's get started. Yes, let's. Kinda cool that he caught Franziska's whip, isn't it? Brief but cool. One of Alabast's knives was used in Babel to murder Mr. Koshan, and the murder weapon in the killing Damask II was Babel's primitive statue. Somehow, those two objects were able to penetrate the two countries' impenetrable security. The only one who traversed the two countries just before and after the crimes was you. So as long as I can't explain how the weapons moved about, Franziska will remain a suspect? You got it, Mr. Prosecutor. So why don't you stop giving me a hard time? Under these circumstances, who the heck can carry a weapon across country lines? I've worked through every possibility, but there's only one that's plausible. Your boss. Agent Lang, what I've learned from you just now is that you've lost sight of yourself. What are you talking about? By focusing too intently on that which is in front of us, we become blind to the truth. Don't tell me Lingzi never said anything to that effect. You prosecutor. Who do you think you are speaking about Lingzi's proverbs like that? I don't need his proverbs. Because my words are all you will need to see the truth. Agent Lang, those two items are not the only two to cross the border tonight. Oh? Damask II was killed Babel's primitive statue, yes. But if that's the case, then tell me, where did Alabaster Primitive statue go? To Babel. Precisely. If the two statues really were switched, then this means that both statues were smuggled across the border at some point. It means that a total of 3 items were smuggled across the embassies. I guess so. But you know what? It doesn't matter the number of items, well, if this is the only one that could have done it. Because the only person who went back and forth between Alabaster and Babel is her. Is that really true? Was there no one else who traveled between the two countries? Actually, there was definitely another person. One who pays a visit to both sides of the wall.
Objection!
Is that really so, Agent Ling? We're a lousy time to try to bluff your way out of this. I checked out what the guards said, along with the security camera's footage. They're not going to overturn my hypothesis that easily. But suppose there was some other way other than through the theater doors. What other way? The other entry they managed to cross the border unharmed. I pointed out it would open up a whole new possibility. And though I hesitate to bring this out, as long as this entity exists, then a possible road becomes a possibility. Looks like you got some clever idea in mind. I do, and I can show it to you through a single piece of evidence. Fine then. Let's see this piece of evidence that will show me this other route. This piece of evidence will show us another way to move between the two countries.
Take that!
Agent Lang, I'm sure you are familiar with this unforgettable photo. That supernatural photo? Like I said before. Humans can't fly. No, of course not. I understand that perfectly well. And don't start claiming that Shinatama grew wings either. I wouldn't dream of claiming that. And won't allow you to take back what you've said either. I'll say it again, it's not humanly possible to fly through the air without wings. So you better have a good explanation for this, Mr. Prosecutor. But how can I prove who was that flew through the air in this photo? Wait, non-humanly possible? Eureka. Very well, you'll have your explanation. Sounds like you have a good idea simmering inside that head of yours. Let's hear it. The face hidden within this photo's bit blurry trailed shadow is...
Take that!
Naturally, the shadow is the third smuggled object, the primitive statue replica. You can't be serious. The Yotagarasu, or rather close to you dressed as Agent Shina, was inside Babel. She dressed the replica statue up in clothes and launched it through the air. Huh, Mr. Prosecutor! You left out a very crucial bit in your explanation. I know I did. She launched it through the air. Huh. How exactly did she do that? He's literally baring his fangs at me. But he has a point. How exactly did it move through the air like that? As long as this remains unsolved, we won't be able to move any closer to the truth. Which reminds me, didn't you say this earlier? Hey sis, I remember just before Ambassador Edwin went in to give his speech. Called you into his office, right? So just before the murder, Francisco was called here, right into this very room. If that's the case, there may be another avenue I could pursue. Agent Lang, in order for me to answer that question, I will need to hear another testimony from Miss Van Karma. Oh? What are you up to now, pretty boy? Earlier, you mentioned something of interest to me. You said that just before the murder occurred, Miss Van Karma had been in this room because Ambassador Elba called for her. For that reason alone, you believe her to be the killer. Yeah, I guess I did say something like that. In that case, I believe it's my duty to ask you what her side of the story is. You really think a criminal will tell us the honest truth? How dare you! As I've said numerous times, there's absolutely no proof that I am the killer. Miles Edgeworth, don't tell me you suspect me too. I don't. However, I can't ignore the fact that you were in this room at one point in time, which is why I would like to hear about it from you. Francisca, I feel that I still don't have enough information, which is why your testimony is incredibly important to the outcome of this case. Alright. So, what would you like me to talk about? I'd like you to please testify to your movements up until you came into this room. Alright, let's try to sit this your way for a change. If what she has to say turns out to be a waste of time, I'll place her under arrest faster than you can. Hell no! As you wish. As I said earlier, I was assigned to guard duty in the Albastion embassy. After I saw the steel samurai off on his way towards the ambassador's office, I returned to the Rose Garden for a bit and checked up on the security situation. After all the preparations were in place, I was called back by Ambassador Alba to his office. Francisco, I wanted to make this clear from the very beginning. So what I wish to confirm is the only time span in which you were in this office was before the murder occurred. Is that correct? Yes, of course. I see. For now, the only way that I can see for us to break out of the situation is to ask Francisco about our testimony in more detail.
Hold it!
At that time, Damastu's body had yet to be found in this room. Is that correct? That's right. But Ambassador Alba was here. We could hardly miss this by the large presence. Criminals say anything to get out of getting arrested. How do we know you're not lying? Well, if you need proof, I'd be happy to oblige you. Seriously? Like I keep telling you. When I arrived at this office, Ambassador Alba was already here. He was standing with a flower box on the windowsill, watering his plants. Oh, I can attest to that. I remember speaking with the lovely lady around that time here in my office. Grr. Alright then. Add that statement to your testimony, and let's hear some more details. So Ambassador Alba was in this room at the time, was he? When I arrived, Ambassador Alba was watering the flowers on the windowsill.
Hold it!
For the sake of being thorough, I'd like to ask you something. How did you know that Ambassador Alba was watering his plants at the windowsill? What do you mean by that? The entrance to this room is on this side, however the window's on the opposite side. If what you say is true, then when you entered the room, his body would have been like a wall. It would have been blocking your view of what he was doing. Isn't that not correct? I suppose it was a bit hard to see around him. But fortunately for me, Ambassador Alba is not an immovable wall. I knocked before I entered, and as I did, he turned around to greet me, with a watering can in his hand. So it's only natural to believe that he was watering his plants, right? I suppose. After his greeting, we spent a little time talking about his flowers. He had tamed them himself and is growing them with the utmost care, you know? Yes. The plants in this room, they're all like my children. Passion flowers in the flower box on the windowsill are growing beautifully too. All four of them are in full bloom. Miss Von Carmel, what did you say just now? I said the flowers are growing beautifully. What about that statement do you not understand? Do I not understand? Do not understand why a certain thing is the way it is. I'd like for you to append that statement to your testimony. Very well. There are 4 large passion flowers in full bloom in the flower box. There's only 2 of them that we saw. That's the issue.
Objection!
Francisca, for some odd reason, your testimony contradicts with this piece of evidence. It does appear that way. I knew it. I knew we couldn't trust your words, sis. Mr. Edgeworth, what are you doing discrediting Miss Von Carmel like this? Yeah, sir. If you keep this up, she's gonna get taken away, sir. Eek! All I've done is state what I saw. I have not made a single mistake in my testimony. And for this, I'm still under suspicion for murder. Is the number of flowers really all that important at this juncture, Miles? At the very least, it is a contradiction in this Nimic case. That I find hard to dismiss as irrelevant. Let's hear it, Mr. Prosecutor. What does the number of flowers have to do with anything? Or does it prove? I believe the answer to that will become clear if we were to examine that flower box. How did this contradiction come about? There must be something behind this discrepancy. They're my beloved flowers. I've grown them with the utmost care. So I ask that you please be gentle with them as you examine them, Mr. Edgeworth. I understand. Yeah. The name of these flowers. I believe they're called passion flowers. Despite being called flowers, they're actually a species of vine. They appear to be growing well. They're well supported by these plant supports. Yeah, but no matter how I look at it, it looks like there are only 2 here to me. You realize, don't you, sis? Little lies failed you. Ah, Miles Edgeworth. Hurry up and shut this man up for me already. Suppose we'll need to use some evidence to shut him up, won't I? I believe I have just the piece of evidence you require. Oh, you do you? You have such confidence in the face of your current plight. But I highly doubt it'll last until the end. You howl like a wolf, Agent Ling. We'll see if you have any bite to back up that bark after you see the evidence. The truth behind the passion flowers reveal can be seen in this piece of evidence. There's some dirt on the tips. That's what's odd about these hair sticks, so what do you think that means?
Take that!
Shana, who was supposedly in Babel the entire time, had these hair sticks on her. They look exactly like the plant supports in this flower box. In other words, I believe it can be said that these hair sticks are in actuality support sticks for the passion flowers. And so what? Is this really all that important to the case? Of course it is. It means that we find another item that was smuggled between the countries tonight. Ugh. Think about it logically, Agent Ling. These sticks were originally in Alabast, but somehow they wound up in Shina's hands, who was in Babel the whole night. So make no mistake, these sticks were smuggled somehow, just like the knife and statue. Very well then. I want to hear from you exactly how they wound up in Babel. How did these support sticks find their way to Babel and why? There must be some reason as to why they ended up there. Aha! So that's why. Agent Ling, please take a look at this and tell me its shape. It's just another stick, isn't it? And so it is. The shape of the support sticks is what is important. For when they are used with something in this room, that's when it all comes into focus. And the object that completes the picture when used with the support sticks is... the crossbow here.
Eureka!
If that's a crossbow... Wait, you're not really suggesting... I am. These hair sticks, or rather plant support sticks, they make for perfect arrows. Ugh. I've done it. I found the common thread that connects the 2 offices. This thread is yet to be completely untangled. Even using the arrows, how does this explain how the statues were transported? Furthermore, what did it have been who fired these sticks as arrows? Must be a common thread that ties all of these things together. Mr. Prosecutor, hold up a second. You do realize what happens when you tie a statue to an arrow, right? They don't fly at all. So Babel's statue was draped in the Autogrosso's clothes in the shroud over here. Even if you fired the arrows from this side, they wouldn't go far with the statue tied to them. I don't think I need to tell you that the primitive statues didn't sprout wings. You're a realist after all, aren't you? Primitive statues didn't sprout wings. Of course they didn't. Glad you understand. I feel much better already. I was afraid for a second that you were unaware of that crucial fact. It's only crucial because you're under the belief that wings are necessary to this equation. What? You need to free your mind a bit more and let it fly like a bird on the wind. The primitive statues flew but not on a wing. Allow me a bit of your time and I'll explain this mysterious phenomenon to you.
Hold it!
But we are in agreement that an arrow by itself would reach the other side, correct? But just the arrow by itself is pretty meaningless, don't you think, Mr. Prosecutor? Because the things they want to smuggle are a lot bigger than nothing. No, that's not necessarily true. What? What I need right now is not further discussion of my conclusions and the launch of my conclusions. What the shooter wanted to launch with the crossbow is not the statues themselves. Rather, something a crossbow can launch can be used to move the statues. If it wasn't a statue was tied to the arrows, then what did the crossbow launch? The wire.
Objection!
Finally, we have reached this point in our discussion. I present to you that which was carried by the arrow from the crossbow. I get it now, Mr. Prosecutor. I see exactly what you are trying to say. You're saying the wire was tied to an arrow that was shot into Mr. Koshan's office. All the way from the 5th floor of the Albashian Embassy down to the 3rd floor of the Babylese Embassy. What you're claiming is really what happened. Let's see how Albas' primitive statues could be moved. Gravity could be used to move a statue down the wire from the 5th to the 3rd floor. But then, what about Babel's primitive statue? The dark shadow in this photo is clearly flying away from Babel, going in the opposite way of duality from the 3rd floor of the Babylese Embassy up to the 5th floor of the Albashian Embassy? How do you explain that? Ha, I think I finally see how the gears behind this whole trick work. Agent, the motion used behind this trick? I wonder if perhaps you have yet to envision how it works in your head. Motion? What motion? This is the motion that was employed to smuggle Babel's primitive statue. I believe it was done via rotary motion. The two statues were transported simultaneously. Simultaneously? Get real. The statues collide somewhere along the way. Did I ever say that there was only one line of wire between the two offices? If you shot an arrow with the two ends of a wire tied to it, a circular belt could be formed. Langsy says, do an objection call success what is beyond reasonability. Taking into account the potential difference between the two wires, top one mistake too much to the point where the statues collide anyway. Agent Lang, as you know, the primitive statue is a one-of-a-kind national treasure. And the fact that Babel's statue is a whole replica of the real statue, it would naturally be lighter than the real one, meaning that my idea is very possible. Langzy says, here is what I believe happened. Miss Yu and her mystery co-conspirators have set themselves up in the two different rooms. The two co-conspirator bridged the two rooms by shooting the two ends of the wire down on one arrow. Then two of them covered the statues and proceeded to transport the statues. After the switch was completed, another arrow was fired, carrying the other end of the wire down to Babel where it was to be disposed of. And to do that, Miss Yu hid inside the grandfather clock QED. Grr. This proves it, right, Agent Ling? That I'm not the killer? Not yet, sis. I still haven't had my dessert yet. Right, Mr. Prosecutor? The proof is in the pudding, as it were. Pudding is a nice dessert. So, do you think you can do it? Can you prove that what you said is what happened? Because remember, if you can't, I'll be taking a certain someone back home with me as a souvenir. I agree that as long as there is no proof, my hypothesis remains just that. However, what I have laid out is no mere hypothesis, for there is one more piece of evidence. One more? This should be interesting. You think you have a piece of evidence that will turn your hypothesis into fact? Well then, let's see it, Mr. Prosecutor. I think they made it possible to create a circular belt out of a length of wire. I believe that it is right here in this very room. Now then, I believe this is what made the circular belt transportation method possible. The fan. Because, they circular motion, rotary motion, it works.
Take that!
Heh, looks like you dropped another bomb on us again. The last piece to the trick are two pulleys. Precisely. The ceiling fans double as pulleys in this case. And thanks to the fact that there was one installed in each of the offices, the ceiling fans made for the perfect pulley set for the wire to run on. This must be it. The son of smugglers bypassing their impenetrable security. Grr, you really are something else, Mr. Prosecutor. Bet you figured it all out already, haven't you? You know the big hotshot that set up this real-life stage show is, don't you? The person who set up this rather large and complex stage show needs to be someone who had foreknowledge of the existence of a ceiling fan in both the Albashan and Babylon's offices, and that the passion flower support stakes could be used as arrows. The real mastermind behind this case. Well, don't you dare make this wolf wait for his food. Why are you so hesitant, Miles Edgeworth? If you can't say who it is, why don't you present something like you always do? A single point of the finger here, and this case will explode into an international incident. However, it's already too late for me to stop the forward momentum. It appears they have no choice now, but to rush in. There is a piece of evidence that will point as to who the mysterious mastermind is.
Take that!
This smuggling could not have been possible if they used the crossbow. Furthermore, the arrows that were shot by the crossbow were plucked, as it were, from the flower box in this very room. They were planted so long ago that the passion flowers had the time to grow so big that Miss Von Kramer didn't even notice the arrows when she visited this room today. On top of all of this, the fact that the culprit knew that both offices had ceiling fans tells us the person had very detailed information on the embassy's layout. So as you may have already guessed, the person I am accusing of hatching this plan is the person who grew the flowers in the flower box with the utmost care. This can only be you, Quercus Alba. Are you out of your mind, Miles Edgeworth? I'm certain of what I am saying, and I am sure that he is the culprit. Tell me, Mr. Prosecutor, what was the ambassador trying to accomplish by doing all that stuff you just outlined? Why in the world would he need to use a trick like that? I understand your need to doubt me. However, there is one thing that stands out to me as very odd. Just one thing, huh? The one single end result Ambassador Alba sought to obtain. If we were to examine the focus of this complex trick, I believe we will finally find the real answer to everything. Everything will become clear once we examine this piece of evidence.
Take that!
I would fully understand the reasoning had the situation been the reverse. However, to go through the trouble of swapping the real primitive statue for the fake, I sense a very shady reason for such a bizarre action. Who better ask for that reason than King Primitive himself? I see. Ambassador, I'll be examining the statue now, with or without your permission. This guy kind of looks like the Steel Samurai, don't you think? Maybe it's because they look like that he was picked to be the Goodwill Ambassador. I suppose that's possible. Take a look at this area around the base of his neck. Looks like a gap. Hey, you're right. Maybe it's meant to be some kind of a secret. Perhaps it's possible to open the statue from this gap in its construction. What? Hurry up and open it, Miles. Alright, here goes. Wow, it really did open up. Hey, what's this thing that fell out? I believe a more thorough examination of it is required. What in the? Is this? Hey, is this what I think it is? It's a plate for making counterfeit bills. Somehow, it appears we've at long last arrived at the exit of this complex labyrinth. We finally hold within our hands one of the counterfeit money plates. And the reason why the replica was smuggled into the Albas to begin with. The primitive statue can only be handled by the ambassador or the secretariat, and the replica is nothing more than a hollow shell covered in gold. These two circumstances make the statue the ideal object in which to hide contraband. After receiving the statue containing the counterfeit plate from Shina, the ambassador had the misfortune of accidentally running into Damask too. Surprised by that thief, the ambassador brings the replica statue of Damask too, and then, in order to frame the Steel Samurai of the murder, he covered the samurai sword in blood. Well, Ambassador Alba, your the leader of the smuggling ring? My country is a mess. And it's all because of you? You're the one who killed Damask too? Answer us. I never thought that you would think of things out to this level. However, there is one point to disagree with you on. The head of the smuggling ring was Mr. Koshan. Quit screwing around. I have no sympathy for someone who would try to pass the guilt onto a dead man. If there was one thing I'm sure of, is that you're the real ringleader, Quirkus Alba. It's not good to speak with such subjectivity, you know, Agent Lang. Subjectivity? A conclusion is anything but and is a result of logic and investigation. Logic and investigation? Only seconds ago, you were ready to arrest Miss Von Karma. I don't think we can go such flip-floppies logic and real weight, do you? Heh. Heh. It looks like you still don't get why I came back. Excuse me? You see, the reason I came back is so that I could stick my fangs into your wrinkly old neck. From the very beginning, my real target has been you. What? Agent Lang, I demand an explanation. Sorry, sis. Didn't mean to put you through all that. I knew you were innocent from the very beginning. You did? I knew this whole incident had been meticulously planned and prepared for. So naturally, the occupant of this room, Master Alba, seemed the most suspicious. But without the ambassador's permission, he couldn't get in to take another look around. Ah, so that's why you put on this big show to accuse Franziska of the murder. Use Franziska as the bait, you were able to gain his entry and investigative rights. Yeah, if I hadn't done that, I doubt the ambassador would have given the okay to poke around. So that's what all this was about. Very well, I will forgive you. But in exchange for using me as bait, you will take some responsibility and help us find the truth. Agent Lang, forgive me such a great opening. I thank you. You know, I just knew, Mr. Prosecutor, that somehow, if we were able to find some proof by investigating this room, that you would be able to figure out the real culprit with your special brand of logic. Evidence detectives flex combined with the logic of a prosecutor. It's just as it should be in a prosecutor-detective team, right? I don't know anything about all that. One thing I do know is that I'm itching to see that what that old man gets what's coming to him. You're quite scary and you want to be, aren't you? Hey, you were the one who was planning to use me to push all the guilt onto Sis. But unfortunately for you, misjudged me. Agent Lang, I wish you would stop trying to intimidate me. What we need right now is evidence and proof. I wonder if you have what is necessary to prove that I am the head of the smuggling ring.
Objection!
Don't be such a sore loser. If you really are the head of the smuggling ring, then you should acknowledge your crimes with dignity. Dignity? That is nothing more than a fool's insincere display of strength. If you really wish for me to acknowledge my crimes, then I would like to see firsthand some of this thing you call evidence. Gah! I tell you, I knew nothing. Really? I didn't even know that a counterfeit plate was hidden inside that statue.
Objection!
You swapped a real statue that vested in your country with the authority to rule for a fake. Does it make any sense or you didn't know anything? It doesn't make sense. Or doesn't it make sense? Can you prove that it doesn't make sense? Ugh. He's really got us. He's turned the entire situation around against us. The proof at Interpol has been after which points to this man as the ringleader. You can somehow find that proof now, then we can see to it that justice is finally served. There's nothing I can use to break this case wide open? The trump card and the videotape. With those two items, we might be able to finally bring this man down. But the card is evidence from a case that Mr. Faraday hid away in secret. And the tape was stolen by Detective Bad from the police. They're both illegal. No matter what, a protector of the law can't be allowed to use such pieces of evidence. Needless to say, Yvonne Calm is commanded to achieve nothing but victory, and by any means necessary. The only way to bring someone like that to justice was to do so outside of the courts. That's what we thought at the time. I no longer follow the path of my for karma, and I won't follow the path of the Yatagarasu. This leaves me with what? What creed will I believe in? If I want to pursue the truth, then I will sully my hands on legality. If I want to pursue justice, then I won't lose the truth. What is the law and what is justice? Which path is a prosecutor supposed to follow? That choice is what I must make by my own hand here and now. It doesn't really matter what you choose here, believe it or not. So either way, you have to present the evidence. There's no limit to the law. Any limit that exists was set there by man. When a person goes beyond that limit, then the law too crosses into new territory. For what reason were laws invented? The answer to that is what I must now show. Ambassador Alba, I wonder if you might recognize this. Oh, I wonder what that card is. I've never seen that before in my life. It's a directives card used by the leader of the ring to relay instructions to his subordinates. Oh, is that what it is? This card was sent to the real culprit behind the KG8 incident 10 years ago. A man by the name of Mr. Manny Koshan. Oh, so why do you have such a card in your possession? Because it was hand-delivered to me. By a certain great thief, the Yatagarasu. The Yatagarasu gave that to you? Don't talk nonsense. And let's be serious, Mr. Edgeworth. Do you have any proof that the card contains directions from the Ringleader? I'll have you know that the card is not the only thing I was given. What? This contains security footage that was shot just before the start of the KG8 incident. The KG8 incident? The card and the video. These two pieces of evidence will seal your fate. Oh, very interesting. I must admit I am very curious now. Very curious indeed in these case-deciding pieces of evidence you presented. The prey the Yatagarasu have been chasing all this time now stands before me. Can't allow this man who has had free reign for 10 long years to simply walk away. Now it was the time for me to bring to fruition the valiant spirit that was given to me. So what is this interesting thing that you wanted to show me? The trump card and the videotape. These two pieces of evidence together make for the ultimate hand. And this is where the real meaning behind Detective Bad's words will be realized. Detective Gumshoe? Yes, sir. What you see here is security footage shot just before the KG8 murder occurred. From this footage, we know that the card is a directives card from the smuggling ring. This is a section that proves that the card was used to relay an order.
Take that!
As you can see, Mr. Koshan is holding the card in his right hand. I see. The killer is indeed holding a card with the exact same design on it. And that card and the one you have. Just because they look the same doesn't mean that they are, does it now? Ah, but there is a very easy way for me to prove that they are in fact one and the same. All I have to do is simply take a look at this. This struck red blood. Yes, this is your proof. Proof that the orders on this card played out in that terrible tragedy. The blood belonged to the victim of the KG8 incident. With a bit of DNA testing, we can very easily verify that as fact. If you have no objections, then I'd like for you to take a look at this next piece of footage. The car that passed by in front of the victim's apartment building. It's an official Code of PN government car. What? Detective Gumshoe, could you please magnify the footage? This area of the footage directly links the smuggling room with Kodapia. See, A badge in the background, yeah. And that card in his breast pocket too. Both are very suspicious, aren't they?
Take that!
The sheet with this pocket and the directives card in it. It tells us without a doubt this person in this car is Mr. Koshan. The license plate on the car was also captured by the security camera. And with it, we can easily find out who was sitting in this car on that day 10 years ago. Which is why I can say with confidence that you were riding in this car on that day. You've done well, boy, to make it this far. However, about your claim that I was riding in the car at the time. That's going to be mighty difficult to prove. How so? The Principality at Codapia no longer exists, so naturally all records from that time period also no longer exist. That arrogance, but he really means he's already erased all traces of them. Are we finished here, boy? Well, what I have left to me now is this piece of footage. There must be something here that I can use against him. Remember the badge I just pointed out? Yeah. You can't see it on. You can't see it in this area, but we can see it in the window, yeah.
Take that!
What the? Ambassador Alba. Yes, what is it? You're once an armed man in the service of Codapia, and it was you who made the many missions you participated in successes, correct? Why the sudden backhanded praises, boy? Although to be sure, the brilliant medals in my breast were awarded to me during the area of Codapia. But now I am the only one who owes this particular medal. In that case, the only person who could be was sitting in this car is you. How do you figure that? By the medal captured here in this footage. It is clearly the same exact medal as the one on your chest. What? This is how it will be, but I won't look back. But this is the path that I have chosen. Ugh. You've moved me with your devotion to this case, Mr. Edgeworth. Why is he taking such an arrogant stance with me? It's almost looking impossible, isn't it? With a lot of you to come this far. It looks like I just might lose our little game this time. You might lose the game this time? Don't get another round, Mr. Ambassador. Is that a fact? Very well. I've decided to confess and admit my guilt. You're going to confess? And I will accept whatever punishment that may come as a result. What the? Regarding the Damask 2 murder, I admit it. I did it out of self-defense. You're claiming it was justified self-defense? Damask 2 attacked me, and I felt that my life was in danger. If I hadn't done what I did, I might be the one you found dead instead of him. What a pathetic performance. I'm not giving you one. Wow, you really know how to laugh at appropriate times. If you wish to claim it was justified self-defense, we'll need to some evidence. It's always the evidence with you, isn't it? But if that's what you require, I'll provide it. That man left a mark on me when he attacked. What? I don't particularly want to show it off, but this is proof that it was in self-defense. I'm an old man, and sometimes I don't pay enough attention when I should. But Damask 2 didn't have a single weapon on his body. Hold on, it's nothing to get worked up over because I hid the weapon. You hid it? I'm sorry, but as you know, a murder is a murder, and even if it's in self-defense. And I couldn't let it become public, seeing as how I am an ambassador. This is the weapon you seek, my special bonsai trimming shears. Ugh, it's covered in blood. He was trembling quite badly during our struggle. But that's when he grabbed the shears that were sitting in my office and attacked. So you see, it was an act of self-defense. Is he right, Mr. Edgeworth? Since he has both the wound and the weapon that caused it, it's enough to declare it so. No way! Oh, which reminds me, I guess there was still one more accusation I need to resolve. Smuggling and counterfeiting. Unfortunately, all of that is my secretary's doing. I had no knowledge of what was going on. Stop spewing nonsense. You're trying to throw my investigation under the bus in your desperation. If you want to get real honest, everything in this case can be connected to you. The murder of Damask 2 was done in self-defense. In my trials, no man escapes his crime alive. Perhaps so, if you were my opponent in court. However, there is one very important fact that I think you may have forgotten. And what is that? Yeah. That's what you mean. Extraterritoriality. That's right. This embassy system is effectively a bastion soil. So any trial that is to be held will be held in Alabast. Therefore, the crime I just admitted to will never be tried in your courts. Agent Ling, what is Interpol's stance on this? Agents investigate. That's our job. Judgment of people who have confessed to their crime? That's the court's job. Ugh. And I've already confessed to all of my crimes, Agent Ling. Furthermore, by the very nature of my position, I have full extraterritorial rights. These rights are effective even on your country's soil. Therefore, no matter where a crime may take place, I will never stand trial in one of your courts. That arrogance and your expression, that's nothing like the face of someone who is ready to accept the consequences. Don't tell me you have your own country's judicial system eating right out of your hands. These crimes you all speak so seriously of, to me this has all been nothing more than a game. You may chase me out of this embassy with your accusations, but it's no big deal. Alabast has numerous other embassies in other countries around the world. All you would accomplish is you would change the backdrop of our little game. He's too leery of the protection that extraterritoriality provides him. This is why he's one of those who cannot be brought into court. You see now, don't you? I live in a whole different world than you. Now if you'll excuse me, I need to go and fetch your eviction papers. Is there nothing we can do? Yeah. And trust me, this is just the beginning. We aren't far from over. Yeah, he's quite the boss to take down. But yeah, thanks for watching. Feel free to like and comment and subscribe and check out my Twitch and Ko-Fi and Twitter/X. Next episode will be continuing this battle and it's gonna take a while. Yeah. So hope you're looking forward to that and peace off.